Open 10 tabs, one about business ideas, another about psychology, a third about learning a new skill, then something about investing, then maybe writing or design. And at some point, a quiet thought slips into your mind. Why can't I just focus on one thing? You see people online who seem so certain. One career, one identity, one clear path. But you keep getting pulled in different directions, different interests, different ideas, different possibilities. And sometimes it feels like a flaw, like something about you is scattered, undisciplined, unfinished. But what if the problem isn't you? What if the world you were taught to prepare for is quietly disappearing? Think about the advice most of us grew up hearing. Pick one thing, specialize, stick to a path, don't spread yourself too thin. For decades, success looked like a straight line. You studied one field, you chose one profession, you climbed one ladder. A doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, a manager. One identity. And the deeper you went, the more valuable you became. This model worked well in a stable world. Industries moved slowly. Technology evolved gradually. Careers lasted 30 or 40 years. So being extremely specialized made sense. You became a T-shaped person. One deep skill, maybe a few surface-level interests, but mostly one direction. Now, pause for a moment. Look at the world Gen Z and Millennials are living in. Jobs appear and disappear within years. Entire industries are disrupted overnight. Technology evolves faster than most education systems can adapt. And suddenly, a single skill doesn't always protect you anymore. In fact, sometimes it traps you. Think about the people you know. Someone trained as a graphic designer, now learning marketing. A programmer, suddenly studying psychology. A teacher, building an online business. A corporate employee, experimenting with content creation. It looks messy, unfocused, like people can't decide who they are. But there might be something deeper happening. Pause for a second and ask yourself something honest. Do you really lack discipline, or do you simply have multiple curiosities? Because curiosity is different from distraction. Curiosity is your brain sensing possibility, your mind trying to connect dots that others don't see yet. There's a concept quietly gaining attention in the future of work world. It's called the M-shaped person. Not T-shaped, not a single specialization, but multiple deep areas of skill. Imagine the letter M. Instead of one vertical line of expertise, there are several peaks, maybe two, maybe three, sometimes even four. One person might combine technology, psychology, communication, and business. Another might combine design, storytelling, and marketing. Someone else might mix data, behavior, and creativity. Individually, these skills exist everywhere, but when they combine, something powerful happens. Because the most interesting problems in the modern world don't sit neatly inside one field. They live between fields, between psychology and technology, between art and business, between science and storytelling. The people who can move between those worlds often see opportunities others miss. But here's the emotional part most people don't talk about. Being wired this way can feel deeply uncomfortable, because society still praises the specialist, the clear identity, the single title. So if your interests stretch across different domains, people sometimes assume you're confused or unfocused or inconsistent. And over time, you might start believing that yourself. Maybe you've experienced moments like this. You start learning something new, and it excites you. But then a voice appears in your head. You're abandoning your main path. You should stick to one thing. You're all over the place. So you shut down the curiosity. You try to force yourself into a single lane. But the interest doesn't disappear. It just waits, quietly, until the next spark appears. Now, here's the twist most people miss. The future economy doesn't just reward depth anymore. It rewards connection. The ability to connect ideas, connect industries, connect knowledge from different domains. Think about some of the most influential creators and innovators today. They rarely live inside one field. They sit at intersections. A technologist who understands psychology, a writer who understands business, a designer who understands human behavior. These intersections are where new value is created, because when two ideas collide, something new appears, a new product, a new perspective, a new solution. And people who think in multiple directions often become the bridge between worlds. But here's another layer to this, a psychological one. People with many interests often experience something called identity friction. You might feel like you're constantly redefining yourself, like the ground beneath your identity keeps shifting. One year you're deeply interested in one field, the next year another idea captures your attention, and it can feel unstable, like you're never fully settled. But what if that instability is actually adaptation, not confusion? Adaptation. The world itself is becoming more complex, more interconnected, more unpredictable. So the people who thrive in that environment often think like ecosystems, not machines. Machines specialize. Ecosystems diversify. They spread energy across multiple pathways, which makes them resilient. Pause for a moment and reflect on your own life. How many different things have genuinely fascinated you? How many skills have you explored, even if they didn't become your main career? Writing, design, technology, psychology, business, storytelling, strategy, communication. It might look chaotic from the outside, but inside that chaos, patterns may be forming. Because over time, your interests begin to intersect. Skills reinforce each other. Ideas start connecting, and suddenly something unique appears. A perspective no single specialist could replicate. That's the hidden advantage of the M-shaped mind. You're not just building skills, you're building combinations. And combinations are hard to replace, hard to automate, hard to compete with. But here's the realization that often arrives later. Your path will rarely look linear. It may look messy, indirect, sometimes even confusing. While others climb a straight ladder, you may feel like you're walking a winding road. But winding roads often lead to intersections, and intersections are where the future gets built. So if you've ever felt like you have too many interests, too many ideas, too many directions pulling at your curiosity, maybe the problem isn't lack of focus. Maybe it's that you were trying to force a straight-line identity onto a mind designed for intersections. The world we're entering doesn't just need specialists, it needs connectors, translators, people who understand multiple languages of knowledge, people who see patterns across fields, people who can stand in the middle of different worlds and build something new. So the next time you feel that quiet guilt about exploring another interest, learning another skill, or following another curiosity, pause for a moment and ask yourself something different. Maybe you're not distracted. Maybe you're not unfocused. Maybe your mind is simply preparing for a future that hasn't fully arrived yet. Your curiosity may not be random. It may be preparation. Preparation for a world where ideas connect and knowledge overlaps. The people who will thrive in that world are not always the ones who stayed in one lane, but the ones who explored many, the ones who learned how to connect them and turn them into something new. So if your mind keeps wandering into different interests, don't rush to silence it. That curiosity might be your greatest advantage, because the future may belong to the M-shaped mind.